You want to know why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight? Let's just cut to the chase. At the very beginning of this video, you want to know why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight? Let me tell you, because it's not because there's a new killer and you're unsure on how to go about playing against this new killer, or your teammates are the reason on why you keep losing in Dead by Daylight, or why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight. There's multiple reasons on why you're losing in Dead by Daylight as a survivor. Right now, I just want to talk about people that play survivor in Dead by Daylight. And I also want to talk specifically on why you, the person watching this video, why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight. Let's start with the easiest thing, repeating the same mistakes. Let me just cut right to it. If you are someone who's playing survivor, repeating the same mistakes, such as, and there's a whole laundry list of this, unhooking someone right in front of the killer, so now the killer has more than enough reason to go back to the hook and either A, down the same survivor that was hooked by the killer, so now that survivor is even closer to death, or B, chase you because you're a new person, and obviously the killer has a choice: chase the same survivor or chase the new survivor, since both of you are right in front of the killer, since you, Einstein, decided to unhook your survivor friend in front of the killer who's like 3 feet away from you. They call this farming. I call this stupidity. Why? Because why are you being so stupid unhooking this survivor that's right by the killer? Just wait until the killer goes off looking for another survivor, and then you can unhook this survivor. Wouldn't that make more sense? Number one, this is bad hook management because you didn't give the survivor not even 30 seconds to just hang on the hook, and B, you're kind of screwing your teammate over because now the teammate needs to freaking run for his life because he's most likely gonna get tunneled because of you, and yet you might be the person complaining on why this game is trash or it's not fair. No, let's not go there. This is on you, my friend. You need to stop repeating stupid shit. You need to stop doing the same mistakes that cost you not just your teammates the game, you the game, and making this game way easier for the killer. Why would you do that? But this is just one of many. One of the many reasons on why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight. You might be the person who keeps messing up on skill checks, and even though this is very basic and it's really hard to miss a skill check if you're putting a little bit of effort when you're working on a generator, but if that is you, fix that shit. Or maybe you're the person who, instead of working on the generator, you're just running around the map. God knows what the you are doing. Either you're doing a totem, which is fine because at least you're doing something, but I still think doing a generator first is more important because number one, you shouldn't be working on totems if the totem isn't even lit. Like if there's a Hex Ruin totem out there, fine. If there's a Devour of Hope totem, fine. These Hex totems, I can understand why you're looking for those totems. It makes sense. But if you're just cleansing totems for the sake of cleansing totems, like this is your third totem that you're cleansing and there's no need to cleanse a freaking totem, then this is why your team lost, okay? Maybe your teammates aren't the best at dealing with the killer during a chase, but this is worse because your teammates are freaking running for their lives and here you are cleansing a totem and not doing a generator. The most easiest thing you can do as a survivor, if you really want to help your teammates out, do the damn generator. It's that simple. But what do I know? I just want to progress the game with you guys. That's all. I just want all of us to survive and escape. But that's just me here. What do I know, right? But you think that's it, right? Like this is it? These are the same mistakes that people keep repeating? No, you're wrong, because guess what? There's many more, such as running to the killer so you can be chased. I get it, like you are itching to freaking be chased by this killer. Like you are so damn ready to be chased by this Myers, but Michael Myers don't want to chase you. He wants to chase someone else, and you running to the killer is not helping the game out. In fact, you're making it way easier for the killer to win the game. Why? Because you want to be chased by the killer. Too bad. Go do the generator. Be productive. Come on. The reason why killers get gen rushed, air quotes on the gen rush by the way, is because those survivors are just doing the generators and that's it. Ideally, you want each individual to be on their own generator. So in theory, one person's being chased by the killer, 3 other people are working on generators. So in about a good solid 60 seconds, maybe 80 seconds, 3 generators are done, and that 4th survivor being chased is doing his part by stalling the killer while the rest of the team are working on generators, which is ideally what you want in the game as a survivor. And that, my friend, is how you get to escape city in no time. But when you repeat the mistakes of farming your survivors, running towards the killer, messing up on skill checks, or how about this one, throwing down pallets for the sake of throwing down pallets, and you wonder why you suck at chases as a survivor in Dead by Daylight, it's because of shit like this. Unless you are going up against a nurse, try to preserve your pallets. This is all boiled down to how good you are with mind games as you are looping the killers, how good you are on the time timing on when you throw down the pallets. That's very important. Like, if you are at the killer shack, don't be that person who throws down the god pallet the moment the killer starts chasing you. Try to get at least one loop in. If you can get one loop in at the killer shack, then I can definitely say, all right, you kind of did your part, but those are some good pallets that you're wasting, because a good survivor can make the most out of the killer shack, but a great survivor can not only loot the killer at the killer shack, but he'll be really good at his job by going to another looping area. And guess what? The killer shack is still there, and the killer is off to another pallet location. That is how you make the most of your pallets. On top of that, that's how you effectively stall this killer while your other survivors are doing their generators. Ideally, that's what you want, but in actuality, this shit doesn't happen, and guess what? People are gonna be throwing down pallets like they're about to disappear. I understand the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, but in this case, it's best to save it so you can use your pallets later. Just some food for thought. But besides repeating the same mistakes, we can go on to the next point, a new killer. Obviously, a new killer or anything new in a game is gonna ruffle some feathers. It's gonna stir up the freaking pot. Why? Because it's new. And in this case, a new killer means a new strategy to go about when playing against this new killer. Example A, we got the spring trap. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of FNAF coming through in Dead by Daylight. I love the fact that we have FNAF in the fog. However, I'm not a fan of when this freaking killer just appears out of nowhere and just freaking slashes my teammates down. Like, the guy has 0 terror radius. I didn't even know that that guy entered through that doorway, but he did, and he yeeted me off the generator. Shit happens, but that's why they call him Glitch Trap for the time being. Thank God this is gonna be fixed. But in the meantime, we need to be aware of this bullshit when we go up against killers like Springtrap. So if we know that he's known as Glitch Trap now, players are gonna be abusing this glitch, we need to take advantage and be aware of this shit. Why? Because repeating the same mistake, complaining over and over again is not gonna change things. It's not gonna change the game at all. But what we can do is be aware of this shit. So if you're working on a generator, try looking left and right every now and then. It might save your life, because this rule doesn't just go with Springtrap. It goes with any killer who has 0 terror radius. Don't get me wrong. I love to be chilling on a generator, just holding on the button and just let the generator do its work. I love that. I'm just chilling. And as soon as I hear the killer terror radius music going on, that's my cue to dip out and be in a hiding spot and avoid being chased at all times. But life doesn't always work that way. There are killers like freaking Scratchmere Myers, Ghostface is another one, and now we have Springtrap just appearing out of nowhere with 0 terror radius and just fucking some shit up. It happens, but we gotta deal with it. And if you don't adapt, you're gonna die. That's not just with this game, but that's a fact of life. Bad teammates. Now, you can be doing your part in Dead by Daylight, and by doing your part, I mean working on the generators, finding the hex totem that's freaking slowing down the game, and stalling the killer during chases, so you can give your teammates enough time to work on the generators and get those gates fired up. But no matter how good you are only strong as your weakest link. And that, my friend, is the reason why you lost. Not because of you, because of you as the team. You guys, the 4 of you, need to work together to win this game as a team. Now, if you have someone doing stupid shit, like fucking up on skill checks at the generator, wasting pallets, freaking hiding in lockers, well, there's a reason why you're, air quotes, a bad survivor. It's not necessarily your fault on why you lost. It's because you're only strong as your weakest link, and it's one of those games where, yeah, you lost, and yeah, you died by the killer, but realistically speaking, if you had more competent people in your team, you would have won that shit. Escape would have been easy if you had competent people, but that's not always the case, and that's the price you pay when you play solo queue. Suck at chases. Alright, so maybe you're really good at generators, maybe you're really good at finding all the hex totems that the killer's throwing out in the game, but how about chases? How good you are in a killer chase? Because that right there is the reason why you're a bad survivor. Well, I don't want to say bad survivor, I would say not so good in chases when it comes down to being chased by the killer, and that's okay, that's fine. You know, I'm in the same boat as you, my friend, because if I can just last 60 seconds in a chase, then me being downed after 60 seconds, I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with being on the hook after 60 seconds, because that gives my teammates enough time to get at least one generator done. So to me, that's a good trade. I get hooked and a generator's done. Not a bad deal. Now, I can also understand that if it's a killer like the Spring Trap, maybe it's the Plague, maybe it's Myers, whoever, we all have those 1 or 2 killers or a handful of killers, since there's 40 killers in this game, that's gonna give us a hard time, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I go up against a freaking nurse, a good nurse, we all know that number 1, the pallets are useless because this killer's gonna say, "F your pallets. And number 2, we don't really have a game plan to go up against a killer that's giving us a hard time. But the thing is, if you're someone who gets down by a killer, but not just any killer in the killer roster, then this just shows that you need to work on your chases. You need to understand the map layout. You need to understand what pallets you're working with. And number 3, what kind of perks are you using? If you're someone who's terrible at chases, I would recommend, this is just my opinion, I would recommend use windows of opportunity. It's like playing in Dead by Daylight during your chases on easy mode. Literally, you know where the pallets are at, so you know what you're working with. You know where to run, and you know which place to go to for safe zone. Like the killer shack, you see the aura that a pallet is present in the killer shack. That's your cue to bring the killer to the killer shack. Yeah, you don't want to freaking use the killer shack pallet right away, but at least you know where to go so you don't get downed easily by the killer. You don't have to use this perk. I'm just saying it helps. If you know other perks that helps you during chases, like live or maybe adrenaline, whatever perk it is that's gonna help you in chases, use that perk. I understand that there's about 100 or maybe over 100 useless perks in this game, but I'm pretty sure there's that 1 or 2 perks that's gonna really come in clutch when you're in a killer chase. Lag. Don't we all hate lag? You're in a chase and boom, the game freezes up a little bit and then bam, you get down by the killer. That sucks. Doesn't mean that you're a bad survivor, but some people think that they're a bad survivor because of this shit. Because why? I don't know. It's not your fault. It's not the killer's fault. It's just the internet's fault. And because of the internet, I guess that makes you a bad survivor. Take it how you want to take it. The killer was too good. All right, now this right here, I need to state this for everyone right here watching this video right now. Understand this. You are not always going to escape in your games. And I will say it again. You are not always going to escape in your games as a survivor. Understand this fact. You're playing Dead by Daylight. You are expected to die at some point, and you don't have a choice because the killer said so. And depending on how good this killer is, that will ultimately decide your fate. If you're playing against a good killer who knows the map layout, who has really good loadouts, who not only has been playing this game since it was released, but this killer is really good chasing down survivors. So good to the point that 2 people are on the hook and not a single generator is done. That's how you know you're playing against a really good killer. And I'm not just gonna say that, your teammates are bad. No, you're probably someone playing with 3 other people in your friends list, so you're a full squad in Survivor Friends, and you're going up against a good killer. Does this mean this killer tunneled? Maybe, maybe not. But let's say the killer did not tunnel you guys, and is actually trying his best to give everyone some turns and do his best to not end the game too quickly, yet you guys still lost. That's not the killer's problem. That's a you problem, okay? It's not the killer's fault that he chose to play as the nurse, that he chose to play as Ghostface, or he chose to play as Springtrap. It's not his fault that he chose this killer to thrash you guys in this game. That's a you problem. It's not the killer's fault that he got the desired map he was looking for out of random. It's your fault that you guys couldn't figure out on how to freaking beat this guy. That's all I'm saying. It's 4 of you versus 1 of him, and you guys still lost. And besides, even if you guys still lost, I wouldn't necessarily say that makes you a bad survivor or a bad Survivor Friends group, because losing's gonna happen eventually. The same thing goes with a killer. You're playing as a killer main, and it's alright if you're bad in the game. Like, it's okay if you don't get all the survivors on the hook. And the same rule goes with the survivors. It's alright if you are the only person who died in the game. At least 3 of your other friends survived, but there are many reasons on what makes a bad survivor a bad survivor. This is just a handful of things off the top of my head on why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight. I think you watching this video right now, my dear viewer, I don't think you're a bad survivor, but if you think you're a bad survivor, then the reasons I just enlisted are the reasons on why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight. Now, is this a bad thing or is this a good thing? To be honest, that's something for you to figure out, because at the end of the day, we're just here to have fun in the fog. We're just here to survive, whether we win or die. And to me, that's a win already, because whether I die 20 times or I survive 20 times, I'm still gonna be playing Dead by Daylight. And who gives a shit if you really are a bad survivor? Yeah, you suck at this game. Who gives a shit? If we're friends and you're telling me, oh, but Fox, I'm really not so good at this game, you don't want to pick me, well, guess what, pal? You're rolling with me in the fog. Whether we die together or we live together, we're doing this together, because we are amigos, and together we're going to dominate or we're going to die. That's just how it is. There is no in between. And don't get me wrong, guys, like, I'll be in solo queue, and yeah, I'll be at the exit gate, and yeah, I could have escaped, but think how much more cooler would it be? Instead of just surviving, you become the hero for the the other person. Surviving is cool, escaping is awesome, but being a hero is priceless. The generators are done, 2 of the other survivors escape the gate, and your teammate is on the hook being face camped by a hillbilly. And you have 2 options. You can go be a hero and rescue that teammate, or B, be like everyone else and just escape through the exit gate and let that poor victim die on the hook by the killer. Does this mean I'm a bad survivor because I died for the sake of this other person living? I don't know. That's something for you to decide. But sometimes surviving isn't always the thing that makes this game fun. It's all about the experience at the end of the day, guys. So if you're watching this video and you made it this far, do you agree or disagree with the reasons I just said on why you're a bad survivor? Maybe there's other things I don't even know and I haven't touched upon on why you're a bad survivor in Dead by Daylight. And if that's the case, definitely let me know in the comments. But with that being said, guys, whether I'm a bad survivor or a good survivor, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna be playing Dead by Daylight.